Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back for another recap review show here at Big Old Belt Media for BMF Season 4, Episode 7, The Enemy Within. Lucas over there, Nigeria here, ready to dive into this week's episode after a 1-week hiatus, the typical STARZ thing, you know? Hopefully everybody had a good week. And now back to the BMF shenanigans, where we only got one more episode next week. So that one's dropping August 1st. That one's titled Death of Hope. But yeah, episode 7 tonight, Enemy Within. Lucas, how you doing today?
Listen, I'm wondering, how's Lucille doing? Because I ain't never seen nobody just spin a Sears card the way she just racking up Nicole's debt with new dresses for baby showers, and yet you on welfare. I'm just so confused here. I'm worried about Sister Lucille.
You know,
we need to put the church's cash app at the scroll at the bottom of our review, so we get her tithes up, so they don't get rid of her.
You know, somebody entered the J. Jonah Jameson chat this episode, right? There might be somebody who want Meech more than Bryant.
Oh shit!
Oh man, we'll talk about Jay Pusha a little bit, but yeah, let's just jump right into it because we start off in the beginning of the episode in Mexico, as usual. And we see the brothers talking about the effects of letting that kid go. Meech lets Terry know, like, man, you letting him go fucked up everything. As if there was any bit of doubt from last week, Meech made sure that Terry knew that he got beat on by Loco. But with that being said, while they are, trying to regroup and recruit, the feds are coming down the road. And they yell out to Loco. Loco opens up all the cabinets, tons of guns, and Meech and Loco are ready to fight. They already know what it is. Meech ready. Terry doesn't look so sure. He also was kind of in doubt that he even had those guns in the first place. Yeah. But when it really comes down to it, it really was like whatever's going to have to be done is going to be done, no matter how you feel about what's happening. When it comes down to them, it's about their survival. They're in another country, and and everybody's out for them. What did you sort of make of the opening and the sort of message to make from out of it?
I think this is just again growing the separation between Meech and Terry, because one, the point that Meech decided to even bring that up to Terry, that's why Loco whooped your ass in first place, like. You almost said that like he works for you and he's not your little brother, and that you were perfectly fine with that happening. And then it almost feels like we're getting Terry being scared to have to put in work. Because he was highly concerned when they went and got the guns. Like, hold on, what are we doing with that? What's that for? Like, it's it's the growing separation of showing. I'm guessing of how possibly Meech went one direction with the business, and we know the way Terry went with the business, which was way more behind the scenes with the numbers and everything of that nature. And maybe this is to show you that. But then it's kind of odd because later on in the episode we see something completely different from Terry. So it's like I don't know if it's a contradiction with Terry, meaning that he's struggling with himself to just try and decide how to do this, or is it just showing more and more to us the separation that happens between them in Mexico and the separations of their personalities, not necessarily the business, but the way they operate is completely separate. Like you understood the opening because you understood what was about to happen, and it is making Loco Meech closer with everything, but it is also pushing the relationship between him and Terry further apart.
Let me ask you a question. I was thinking about this when I was watching it. Will you be disappointed by when this is all said and done, this series and just the principal series? Because there's been talks about spinoffs and whatnot for this. Who knows? But for just the principal, the flagship BMF series, if we don't land on the philosophies of what we know between the two brothers and how they ran the business, And as a two-parter, if we don't even land in certain iconic milestones of their stories, like again, the party where the tiger was there, Jeezy showing up, the Mexico trip with all the BMF, the Cancun trip, should I say, with all the BMF. You know, these certain milestones that we know about their history. Yeah. Are you okay with that?
No. At that point, the show would be a disappointment.
Okay.
Like right now, we know behind the scenes what's been said by a certain producer on the show, but we also know what's been said by the studio behind the show. And BMF, unless something like drastic happens where an audience leaves, you have to get to those moments. Because without those moments, what story are you really telling here? Like at the end here, we're in 94. We got about good 13 more years of stuff that we really, about 10 years, not 10, 13 years, some of that area of stuff that you need to really see from BMF. Because right now, we're just seeing the building of BMF. BMF is still not what the world knows them to be at this point. Yeah. So yeah, you have to get to those iconic moments. Without those iconic moments, again, it's a bunch of setup.
Yeah.
It would be like if we watched Godfather of Harlem and it stopped before like Bumpy before Joe Colombo entered in, and you'd be like, wait a minute, like that's a drastic place to end at. That's what it would be like for BMF. Like everybody waiting for the Magic City, everybody's waiting for the Jeezy stuff, everybody's waiting,
or if like Bumpy didn't die.
Yeah, like
and the Miami scene too. You know, yeah. I agree. I'm always down with some of the creative freedoms, these type of shows, these historical political shows, of their particular show. I'm not calling this a political show, but for the shows that are political, writing in history and the historical shows hitting on historical moments. I'm always cool with some of the television creative stuff that they do, but I do, and you made a great point. I do think not only do you owe a service to the fans to hit particular milestones and memorable moments, but you also are on the hook for keeping the fans on board their entire times. And those are tools that you can use. You know, when you have the certain cameos, the Jeezy cameo, the Frank Lucas is showing up, which you have to do these things in order for it to work. You can't go so far off the path that we can't pretend like these certain moments in history didn't happen, that shape, who they are, what it is, and so on. So, so as a two-parter to the question I asked you, they definitely have to hit the milestones. But if the brothers don't land on the philosophy in terms of how we know them to run their business, if they never land on that, I'm not going to say I'm going to be okay, but I'm going to be very curious as to why that wasn't important for them to say, Meech ran the business like this, Terry ran the business like this, because we see the differences now, but the differences now aren't what they ultimately end up being. So at some point, we have to have a Mexico of sorts to flip the script on both of them to say, why did Meech get sloppy on the phone? Why did Terry decide that he didn't even want to be the face? He didn't want to be anywhere near the front line of things. He didn't want to be at all the parties. He wanted to be back. He didn't even want to be in Detroit at certain time. Matter of fact, that's another important thing, because didn't he run shop in St. Louis for a whole while?
Yeah. Like this what I mean. Like, it's stuff that happens that you have to have a conversation. You have to show the audience. You owe them that. Not only that, technically we saw it in season 1.
Yeah, that's what
we are not allowed to like go to 94 and then fast forward to Terry's arrest in one episode.
Yeah,
or whatever's left in this season. That would be insane.
Yeah,
because then you left a huge thing and didn't pay it off.
Yeah, they probably recorded all of that, because I don't see Leslie waiting around. 4 or 5 seasons to come finish the rest to get into that. They probably filmed all that, got that in the can right now. But anyway, y'all let us know. Y'all let us know your thoughts about how the story is running, in terms of a parallel to where we know they to have been at this time in their history, and ultimately, where do you want to see the story go? But let's get to it. So we got Bryant now sitting in the car. Looks like he is doing some recon night after day after day after night. Only for him to be sitting outside of Laz's grandma's house, and he realizes that something ain't right about this. We go to Terry's restaurant now, and Hoop walks in and sees that Terry is stress eating. But we do get a lot of information about how the business is run, really in short little sentences here, because he said, like, number one, we got to get the product out of St. Louis because we're hurting in Detroit, which means that Meech is hurting in Atlanta. And Terry says, we can't do this because the cartel did not approve of it being moved from St. Louis. And if we want to kind of draw sort of the connection to the connective tissue here, Loco had to vouch for the move for it to go to St. Louis. They realized that this was a safe place in terms of travel logistics, and because of them being able to have the warehouse to store it. And obviously, with all the stuff with Jay Pusha is a problem. But at the end of the day, it wasn't much of a problem for Loco because the money was coming in, and the cartel don't give a fuck about anybody on American soil as long as the money is rolling back to where it belongs. So they don't care what casualties, what wars, or any of that's happening. But because of the distributors, whatever you want to call them, the folks that have to get it out, they don't want it there, which is the BMF folks and whatnot, and they wanted to move it, and thus they need approval to do so, which means Loco would have to go back to his boss. And Loco did mention his boss today in this episode. Mm-hmm. He said his boss is in California. So we're going to see. Yeah, we're going to see how this is about to work out. But nonetheless, Terry and them, they're not making any money. And Terry decides that he's going to go down to Atlanta to flip bread on some high roller game. And also they got people outside of Marquisha house watching her every move because, they're worried about Boom showing back up, but also because, she's been kind of messy with all the people she's been dealing with, the cop and whatnot. Meech and Sheik Mooney Bay. Listen, the Moors are ready for war. And they say this is all about redemption. And we quickly get a glimpse at Jay Pusha, who says he is ready too, and fuck everybody. And while he is being driven by anger, which we hear his brother Carter mention him about, we get our first, and as I said, his first audition into the
J. Jonah
Jameson to the Joe Jonah Jameson Club.
I wouldn't even say that. Like, you know what Jay Pusha comes across is a lot more like than J. Jonah Jameson with
what?
Because Bryant will always bring me Spider-Man. But no, Jay Pusha comes across like Lex Luthor. He must have said Meech is an it.
I mean, but he definitely said, y'all bring me Meech dead or alive. So I mean, you know what?
I want Spider-Man!
He tried to take Brian's spot here, but it was interesting that he does have so much anger towards Meech in this. And I don't think it needs to make sense because Jay Pusha isn't quite being tactical with his moves. He is he's driven by anger, as is mentioned, but I also think he wants blood and he doesn't care who, what, when, where, why, and how. If you are in his peripheral, then that's it. You saw him shoot a woman off nothing, didn't care, and anybody else. But what did you think about sort of the turf war that's building in St. Louis at this moment?
See, I'm not going to say it's not logical. I think I fully understand why he wants Meech dead. And it's because Jay Pusha thing is you're cutting me out of the business. And that can't happen. Not at this point in time. We already know he had tried to go behind Meech's back and get the plug anyway. Yeah. To the point now you're trying to cut me out the business. Nah, you got to die. Because the rationality has to be, if you die, the plug has to come to me. Who else can move this stuff but me? If you're gone. So it makes sense. And we already understand the Moors and this war and how this is going to happen from the moment Jay Pusha shot at them. Like that was going to start that war. And the way we ended last episode with those two people being murdered by him, this was always going to be a heavy war. But what's more interesting is Kia's involvement in all of this. Because when we got reintroduced to her last episode, when she said, I got my own crew, I got everything. It feels like you don't. It feels like your crew is a sub crew of Jay Pusha's crew and not technically your own crew. So it is like that whole dynamic, and the point that they moved their work to St. Louis to avoid drama and got immediately put into a huge power vacuum in St. Louis for their work. Like, that's insane.
Yeah. Facts.
I thought Nelly was gonna pop out. I was like, shit.
Hey,
You're telling me Nelly?
So now we got. Hey, you know what? Nelly did had a run in with BMF.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So he said he was involved in BMF.
No. And I wonder, was Meech?
Let
me look this up real quick because I could be reaching.
Because Nelly got hot in what, like 02? Yeah. Once he got hot like 02. Which would make sense if it was any form of an involvement with, because at that point Meech knew everybody in rap. Like you weren't in hip hop and didn't know who Big Meech was.
Yeah, they got plenty of pictures.
Associated with them, but it's a good chance that they ran in some of the same circles.
Yeah, they got pictures together online. I'm just looking right now. From Nelly to J-Bo to Duffy and Magic, there are different theories of who these characters are. That's interesting. Nah, there's no way. I mean, that's a reach, though. There's no way they're trying to say Nelly is any of these characters.
Nah.
Yeah,
Nelly,
but now they were cool.
Involved in that business aspect of it. But the interesting part is because BMF operation was in St. Louis, they would have easily had interactions with one another.
Yeah.
But again, everybody had interactions with Meech.
That's sure. Yeah. All right. So back to the Flenory house now. So we got Charles in the kitchen. Nicole walks in and sees him with a knife, and there's still concerns about Charles and his well-being. Lucille also walks in, and Nicole tells her parents that she is going to defer her scholarship until her baby arrives. And it's all about doing what's best for her and her baby, and she needs to stay close to home to have that support system. And with that, there was, I guess, some measure of concern to say maybe we shouldn't have the baby shower, but she says, no, we do need something to celebrate, so let's move forward with it. Charles thinks this is a mistake. Lucille quickly with the snapback of, I think it was a mistake of her having unprotected sex. But we do see Nicole then go to her room crying. She looks over her scholarship and acceptance letter and throws it away. And I think that might have been sort of a metaphorical moment of her feeling like that her dreams are going away because of having a baby. And no matter how you want to look at that, that is the realization of what bringing and introducing a kid while you are prime in your education stage in life, whether it's high school or whether it's anything afterwards, community college or 4-year university, whatever it may be. But yeah, priority shift. And I think that's Nicole just making that realization that what she once desired at the immediate time is impossible because of this.
I got a question though.
Go ahead.
Nicole found out she was pregnant last episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we having like baby showers at like the first trimester? Like, I'm confused.
So there was something that indicated to me about how much time had passed, and I forgot to write that in my notes. But there was some significance that showed you some time had passed. So I feel what you're saying because I thought that too.
Huge gap, not like a third trimester gap. It maybe the second. Maybe she like 3 months now.
Oh, you mean like the appropriate time to? Yeah. It's about 3 months. You mean the appropriate time to have a baby shower? Hey, listen.
A baby shower this early.
Listen, I'm just gonna move on because
Joe could not make it. What do we do?
People be doing all types of shenanigans with this. The pre-baby shower, the baby shower.
No, that's nowadays. That these women who came up with multiple reasons to give multiple gifts,
gender reveals. Oh, yes, gender reveal, different. Baby shower, pre-baby shower, the baby shower with both the parents, baby shower with just the mother. You got
they
it
got
all.
to do the baby shower with just the father. Then they want to push gift. Like all this stuff is just babies have become scams for women to get gifts. That's what this is.
Oh man. All right, the next scene we got a great shot of one of my favorite classic cars, and that's the Acura NSX. And we now see Meech, who's on the phone with Laz, and they're just getting updates from one another. First and foremost, Purdy ain't doing what she's supposed to be doing. She didn't show up. She was supposed to go in the studio. She didn't do it. And Laz has concerns that we may have a little bit of a habit there. Meech is also talking about how he wants to end war. But we'll see how that go. Anyway, Kia's with him, who we know is loyal to Jay Pusher.
Yeah.
But we're going to see how she's going to be used through all of this. But anyway, there's also just the major concern of just losing more people. And I'm sorry. And they're talking to Kia's sister and
about everything.
Yeah. And she says, like, listen, like, I already lost my husband, but the last thing we need now is to lose more people. I need you to learn how to protect us. Like, yeah, you could be wanting to end this war and whatever, but like, you need to learn how to protect us. We already knew that was going to be foreshadowing for something.
Oh, definitely.
Lucille now with the church board. This is honestly, I probably, a little part of me wants to spend some time talking about this. A little part of me just don't.
No.
But Lucille is with now. Yeah, Lucille with the church board, and the church board said they are expecting a little bit more of tithing from her. And she also says, much like the folks of the congregation, I am also struggling with some financial distress, bringing in the grandbaby and all this other stuff. Yeah. But Lucille, in a very biblical way, I would say, promises to get everything figured out. She used a bunch of different things to like make it make sense to them, to hold them off. Like listen, this was a bill collector call, and all she did was buy herself a little bit more time before they want to start collecting.
She made I have questions about why they would expect her tithing to be more if they're not paying her a salary. That is part of being a pastor, is that you pay me a salary and I have to tithe 10%. I can't tithe 10% of nothing. Like, that's insane to even ask for that from them. And then after she gives her sad soliloquy for one of the men to say, well, God doesn't put more on man than they can handle. And Lucy had to say, yeah, not on men, but he requires a lot more from women. And like it literally made no sense. This whole conversation from their perspective makes no sense. But again, it just builds on the tension that Lucille feels here. Because at this point, I'm questioning, is she a volunteer pastor? She's making no money. You are in the mid-90s in Detroit. Your congregation, they know the congregation. Like, if you're a board member, that means these are deaconess, treasurer stuff. You know the people who are in your congregation. You know these folks ain't got no money. And then you go to the pastor, like, we expect you to tithe more. And you're not paying me? Tithe what? Like, this is funny, but it also, again, as we brought up 2 episodes ago, when she went to that other church in Atlanta and she saw everything that's happening here. Yeah, I wondered, is this more motivation that's going to possibly lead her to understand, like, maybe this church need to make changes? Because if y'all expecting to bring in more tithes for building funds, and
we need to get collecting with more high profile people. Exactly. No, this is facts. This is facts.
Everybody can't be the Potter's house now. Right, pull it down what TD can pull down off of the tides and stuff of that nature. Lucille definitely can't. Lucille is still interested from Steve Sears.
Oh man. All right, so we go to we see a couple of Demores here, and they look like they're unloading a truck into some type of warehouse. But immediately gunshots are ringing off, bodies are falling, and it's Jay Pusher and his crew. He said rob everything, only to discover that there is no drugs. Kia's sister is shot. She is she's not fatally shot. Oh, I'm drunk. No, she's not dead. No, she's critical condition for sure. Yeah. But only to find out that this wasn't a drug stash house or any of that sorts. This was a food donation facility here. Yeah. But we also just see a side of Jay Pusher who don't care. He don't care about any of that. He wanted the drugs and bodies were going to fall. He trying to hurt the Moors one way or another. Now we get Bryant and Hardy. This is nothing but Bryant wanting to get a warrant to get Laz's grandma's house.
We're going to eventually have to have conversations on how this Detroit police officer is constantly getting warrants to search other people's
houses. But also, too, they also, if I'm not mistaken, there was a statement about wanting to talk to the informant. Yeah.
You know, is the boy who got killed father, and that's why he doesn't want to talk to the Red Dogs, and Brian is holding him back, because if he talks to the Red Dogs, Brian has to reveal that technically he did police work in a meeting that police aren't allowed in to do police work, and flipped somebody during that, and then that becomes a bigger problem. Like
maybe if he's thinking that logically. But you know, Brian, he doesn't care.
But this is why I can't end this season, because this is a huge conflict. Yeah. This will be enough to get anything you got against them thrown out. Yeah. So I like, again, we'll talk more about how this is possibly going to play out over these next 3 episodes.
Yeah. So next we got Purdy and Tina, where they're trying to get Purdy motivated. But she's not ready to hit the booth. She can't write. She's just really, she's under, I don't know. She said she's been messed up in the head since she got shot. But at the same time, too, I'm just going to call it by what it is. Purdy instantly is showing addict habits and tendencies. It's anger.
She was a cokehead before she took a bullet.
For sure. And Tina lets her know, man, like, listen, you can't take drugs, you're mad. So she takes her necklace. But then that's where Purdy immediately says, well, if you're not going to get that to me, I'll just get it from Trail, which we know Trail has control over her. And that's how he has control over her. And that's where she knows she can always go back to. But yeah, Purdy's acting like a straight addict. You can, first of all, great performance here, because you see it dead in her eyes that she looks zooted. And she needs her fix, and nothing stop her from getting it. Which we know this is bad for business all the way around. This is a liability to your artist. This is a liability to the funds that are circling around her, the drugs that are circling around her. I wouldn't be surprised if she decides she wants to turn snitch for the sake of whatever she thinks she might be able to get, which is an idiotic move. But, you know, addicts would do the most egregious things at any time, you know. But anyway, Terry and LaWanda now, they're just talking. Terry giving her the code to the safe for some money. Markeisha now shows up while LaWanda is leaving. And Terry asks LaWanda, hey man, give baby sis, you know, give her 3 G's and a car. Let her know, you know, this is from me for the baby shower. Markeisha comes in and says, you know, I just want to let you know that I haven't heard from Boom since you beat on him. And you know, Terry says all the right things he's supposed to say here, like doesn't change it that you are his wife, but Markeisha is deep in her convincing bag and letting her know that although I'm his wife, you're my heart. he ate all that up. But anyway, he says, listen, I need to go to the A for a high roller game. And she instantly says that's a vacation for us because you owe me a trip for when you messed up Miami. She's never gonna let that go. Just FYI.
Nope.
But Terry's cool with it. And yeah, we see that they go later on. Now we see Lucille and Estelle. They're just gossiping as usual. And while Lucille's talking about the tiding, She also was talking about how she needs to get a dress for the baby shower, and
she got no dresses in her house.
It's crazy.
She got no
and
clothes.
The fact that she feels like she needs to make a presence at it is whatever. But Estelle says, "Man, put it on the card, man. It's all good. Just swipe that credit card for that." But she says now Estelle gives her the play in terms of how to get the welfare application pushed through or for her next appointment, and basically says you got to go riz the guy. Don't go back to the girl. Go to the guy. But also too, Lucille, you probably need to get laid, and she got listen. It didn't take long to get Lucille on Demon Time. Because we see Miss Holy Pastor Flenory, man. If the church folk only knew,
pop them Jones up. Here's the weird part, though. In this conversation, when she's telling her, "Hey, go to the man. Don't go back to the woman." Like you know how men are. Basically, that's what they could have said. Men ain't paying no attention but to your body. Go back. In the end, she literally had to tell that man the exact same thing she had to tell the woman she dealt with, and she'd have got the same result, which is Charles doesn't live here. So all that propping up to do all that, you did all of that and still had to tell the same lie you didn't want to tell prior, which is that Charles doesn't live here.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird thing here. I was way more interested in her like telling Lucille, "You need to get a massage." I got a battery operated friend. Or called him the Bob. I ain't heard it called the Bob since Raheem.
Lucille, go ahead and hit Amazon real quick. Get that rose. It's gonna change your life. Lucille was all about it too.
Hey, Pastor, like, look here, I got to get one off too. Like it is what it is.
It is what it is. Freaked out. The
Hold
church.
Who brought the massage? We're gonna come.
Estelle.
Who brought the massage into the baby shower?
Estelle, you know it. You already know who it was. Estelle. She gave zero fucks about it. The fact that Lucille even got a gift at the baby shower is just wild. But you know,
was that Joe? Did that Joe say Hasi Chashi? Was that a hibachi? Hachi Chashi? No, as Martin would say.
Crazy. All right, so now we get Meech and Kia. They're at the hospital. Kia's sister was shot by Jay Pusher, but she survived. She didn't die, as I mentioned. But now Kia's determined to take Jay Pusher out. And with that, though, they're going to set a meet with Carter. This is a way to kind of get in the vicinity of him and make that move. And she says, "I'm gonna kill Jimmy." But Meech says, "Once you cross that path, it ain't no turning back." And she says, "She know." And Meech says, I'm with you." Lucille goes to the welfare spot and she goes after the man. She gets to risen him. He gets to flirting. They make it happen. Approve the benefits. There was no surprise here from anybody that watched the show.
No, not at all.
Not at
all.
Charles now getting a haircut, and it's the father-son bonding moments between the two. Terry getting it right, and this is Terry just letting Charles know, like, we want you to be okay. And then there's a lot of other little things said about the music, basically saying like we created a record later because it was all because of you that we're inspired to do things in the music industry. Mm-hmm. But also, since you need something to do, why don't you come down to Atlanta and help us get the studio together? And while Charles does say it's not his focus right now, music business isn't for him right now, we do see later that he does consider it, and it does seem as if he is going to go to Atlanta to help. I hold that thought because there's something to be made there, but just hold that thought for 1 minute. But again, it's just this was giving father love and props for what they're doing by the things that he's done. I think this is a good moment for him because while he feel like he's lost everything, like he has to understand like his legacy and what he's done has influenced his kids in a positive way. So I mean, positive with an asterisk around it, but we'll go with it. The baby shower now, Bree's mom is there, who isn't in a fancy dress, but asking all the questions that the proper question that a grandmother should ask. Lucille comes out, obviously looking right, getting all the compliments. And now we get it. We get a sort of everybody throwing their claims as to what the baby is and what it should be named. Where we hear Nicole saying she's going to name it Demetrius, and everybody is throwing their names. And Breeze is looking like, what the hell? We didn't talk about this.
We didn't just we.
Nor is there we in any of these conversations. It's a lot of I. Now, two things to make it that is the Nicole and Breeze not being on the same page because she's using a lot of I's and he's looking around like, where's the we in this? This is supposed to be us. And then the secondary thing is, I think it's safe to say that Lucille likes that spotlight a little bit. You know, and
a little bit,
and you know that's only amounting to, as you said earlier. So we'll talk a little bit more about
steps. Like she was Diana Ross. She didn't give a goddamn about that baby shower. She like, look, I know y'all here for the baby shower, but it's about me today.
Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't want to start singing there. You know, trying to fetch all the compliments for the day.
Exactly.
But anyway, so now we go with Meech and Tina. Tina is back home and let her know that I'm sorry, this is not that scene. Tina's now back at the crib and she's looking for Purdy because they're obviously ready to get back to doing what they're doing, only to find Purdy is on the ground because she has overdosed. Back to the baby shower, they're opening gifts. Markeisha walks in with a gift. No one's happy about this. No one. And Nicole lets her know this is for family only. And yeah, she's immediately kicked out. But after that,
me and Terry are family, and I'm like, what? When the hell did this happen?
It's the first time I didn't feel any bit of the dominant Toretto in me to allow that statement. Because typically we allow everybody as family, but not this case. I agree, Nicole. No. You're right. You're not family. no Dom on this one. No Dom. But Charles. Puts on music, he gets in his bag, everybody dancing. Charles is going off. Now, granted, hold on 1 minute. It's good to see Charles in good spirits. You know, he feels alive. Now I have questions.
Okay.
To what caliber would you say his dancing is right now? Is this accurate for this era, or is he just way off? Because I feel like I ain't never seen the males of my family dance like this.
It was a clip on the internet of an old Soul Train episode. Where is this nigga in the orange shirt just going the fuck off with all these arm movements? That was Charles. So clearly this is supposed to be something it gotta be from the 70s because that's the way he's dancing. But he said, I wrote this song about you. Nicole, we're in 94. So I mean Nicole had to be born in what, late 70s? So it just shows his age more than anything. Or I thought Charles was zooted. Charles gotta be high on his mind right now. But again, it's I think they just wanted to show just a joyful expression. Yes, I have never seen a man dance this way. That wasn't in like the mid 70s. But Charles is supposed to be older. So this is the way he would probably party. It's like this, and this would be him dancing. We just ain't never seen Charles dance before. So it just kind of throws you off. But clearly, everybody else in there was dancing the same way. It was like an episode of Good Times. So, maybe this was accurate for this time period.
Yeah, I was trying not to judge, but I was just kind of like, okay, I guess. I mean,
because they were parents in the 70s, the mid 70s. So that would have been their time of growing up, possibly would have been the 60s to the 70s. So yeah, this would be it would be like now if something was to happen with a parent and they get on the floor and dancing, it's a chance they're gonna be doing the Roger Rabbit, the Cabbage Patch. The hell is this?
Yeah.
Out here.
Yep. All right. Now we get Kia and Carter in Jay Push's little place, location, whatever you want to call it, his arcade. Yeah. And Jay Push's, for one moment, it's like, I knew she'd come back. This is where she belongs, all that other good stuff, as if he's proud that she's returned home. But she pulls out a gun. And when she pulls out the gun, she definitely just hesitated to all extents to pull the trigger, which is obviously not only is this problem number one, but this is the most critical error you can make, because you all know the saying, you know, if you pull a gun on somebody, better be prepared to shoot it. And Jay Pusher responded in a way that he should have, because
should have responded.
Yeah, exactly. But with that though, he sort of butters her up a little bit, and she lowers the gun. It looks like she goes in to attempt for a hug or something. He smacks the shit out of her. And then when that happens, Meech walks in with a gun. He holds a gun to Kia's head, and then he is shot, only to find out that it's Carter who took the aim, pulled the trigger, and shot and killed his brother, and said that, listen, he was never going to let you live, but now we both can be free. And this sort of measure of remorse of, I'm sorry, it had to be done. I'll say this: they did a good job in making that convincing for me as to why Carter could do this. He's always resented his brother. He knew it wasn't getting any better. He's lost his athletic career, collegiate athletic career, because of his brother. His brother never valued him, and it's only getting worse by being around him. And we see that his brother is a liability to him, where we saw what happened before with the Moors. So, you know, in a sense of trying to get the peace, this was his only option, an option he probably didn't know he had, but he also had to protect his girl, his cousin, his family, or just a close friend in Kia by doing so. What did you think about this scene?
I mean, they foreshadowed it perfectly. All you do is go back to the scene between Carter and Terry in the car, and he said, "I hate my brother." Like that told you everything you needed to know. And here we see he still really loves Kia. Like, that's family. So when you see your brother do that to someone who you deem as family, possibly also running through your head, if he's willing to do that to her, he's going to be willing to do that to me. Like, he's obsessed right now. And for them to be brothers, but him to absolutely hate him, but he loved Kia, he's going to protect Kia.
Yeah.
And that's why he shot her. And that's why he said, don't, what I'm going to tell Mom. Like, all the stuff goes through his head for the after effects of him actually having to kill his brother. But I don't think any of them are regret. Like, it's not like he's regretting that decision. He's more worried about, like, how is she going to take it, more than I'm regretting doing it. Like, no, it needed to be done.
Yeah.
And that's they've set up Carter perfectly throughout this entire season to show you how that resentment looks between him and Jay Pusher.
Yeah. Facts. We get Bryant now looking at his investigation board and all the connections he's been able to make. But he gets a call from Hardy saying they got that warrant. Now Lucille is cleaning up the party, the baby shower. So she's looking through gifts and all that other good stuff, and she finds an envelope from Terry to Nicole as the baby's or baby shower gift to her. And we can already see in her eyes she's up to something, but give us like 1 second.
That is cut off.
Yeah. Now Charles walks in, angelic Charles, because that was the guy in the house that was protecting her from the sin she's getting ready to commit. But he said, like, listen, man, the music touched my soul. And then he talks about wanting to go down to Atlanta to help with the studio and whatnot. Now Lucille says, I think that's a good idea. You sound like yourself, you look like yourself. She hyping him and all this other good stuff. Now let's talk about this scene. This is the scene I was like, I want to hold off to. Now, I got to tell you, man, manipulation looks different on so many different people, because in a way, you would say Lucille, who hasn't really been nice to anybody in the last few episodes, sits here and basically gives Charles affirmation, confidence, motivation to go do it he needs to do to get back on the right path. But let's just keep it 100 now. She's just this close from being caught red-handed from stealing $3,000, which is, I would imagine at that time, is worth about $10,000. And when you have no money, this is probably worth $20,000.
So that's the most important part. When you're broke, it's God sent.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the other thing. That's all the stuff I want to talk about. Does she look at this as a God-given gift for her? Did God send this to her? But she's going to play that angle. You know it. She's going to say God put this blessing in her life for her, for this to happen. Secondary thing is Charles has to be out the house fully in order for her with her benefits with welfare. Now, granted, yes, it did get approved already, but it still could be some measure of optics that he's still in there. And even if that's not even a thing, she still resents Charles because he isn't helping financially in the house and has been a constant struggle for everything she's been trying to do. So her giving him motivation to get out the house is completely selfish. It has nothing to do with Charles trying to get back on the right path. This is for the betterment of her, where it would help her have gotten her benefits. She isn't pleased with him because of what he and how he's focusing on himself, but she somehow still wants to hand out from him. And then ultimately, too, because he was that close to catching her with the money, she feeling awkward and she's saying anything to get him from out of her face right now. I hate this for Charles, but damn, if Lucille, the villain, ain't arrived fully in this moment, I don't know what else. What did you think here?
Oh, she was just stealing. Like, it ain't even gonna go further than that. She was just stealing. When you get caught stealing, you just say random shit just so that person can leave the room so I can steal.
Hey,
so she's like, yeah, you should do it. You should, Atlanta, woo! You should go. She was saying whatever she could so she could steal that $3,000. That's all Lucille was worried about.
I saw a video.
Charles getting caught with the benefits because she already lied, and it's the 90s. They ain't following up on that stuff. It's people currently right now who still got benefits from the 90s with 45 niggas living with them. They're not following up on that. I have a question about, and I still ain't got answered, because now that we do know, some time has passed from when Nicole was pregnant to right now. So she's possibly like a couple of months, 3-4 months, right? When the fuck does Charles's workers' comp benefits kick in? It don't take this long. He literally should be getting a check by now.
He probably do. He probably do. He probably just ain't sharing it with Lucille. Yeah, he probably do. But listen. Here's what I want to say really quick. I hate this. I hate that Lucille has come to this, because I feel like there's been times we defended her. I feel like we made Charles to be the bad guy, and I'm sure between different moments and different periods, they both shared their share of blame.
Yeah,
but I don't see her accepting her blame at all. In fact, I see her taking this money, and while Charles is going to Atlanta, I see her channeling her best impression of an Atlanta pastor with this money. I see her going all crazy with this and giving zero fucks about it. I don't see her doing anything responsible with this. And while Nicole will have to hold her accountable because she knows, I see her brushing that off. I see her using the God, some type of religious calling as to why she has to have this money. This is really just not a good look.
Here's the weirder thing though. Terry gave this money to Nicole for the baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know for a fact the boys would give Lucille money for anything. She won't take their money because it's dirty money, but she's willing to steal,
which is also still dirty money
from Nicole. That is dirty. That's the problem here.
And stealing is just dirty no matter how it came.
Yeah, they don't have to be on welfare. If she told Meech, I need money, Meech would give her, no matter what the amount is, Meech would give her the money. If she went to Terry and said, I need money, he would give her the money. But her thing is optics. I can't ask them for their dirty money and I can be holier than thou. But I can steal their dirty money from my pregnant daughter instead. Like, this is crazy. And you're right. She's going to justify this somehow. God did something, or the devil got a hold of me and I couldn't stop it. And then I got this massager. Lucille about to go crazy. She about to lay that $3,000 on that bed and get that massager because she got both of them at the same time and go crazy like a Tupac video.
Hey, I saw a video today where there was 2 squatters in a house and they got caught red-handed, and one person decided, all right, we got caught, I'm packing up, I'm leaving. And another person sat there and tried to argue her way out of it as why it was her house, how she got in there, to the point that she was there so long arguing, trying to convince her way out of it, that the cops eventually got there and arrested her. So you're right. People who are lying and people who are stealing will literally say anything.
Anything. Don't matter. Don't matter. Like, we're going to come up with a hell of a story.
Didn't have a claim to her name and sat there the entire time. I'm like, I ain't never seen stupid to this degree. All she had to do was leave. They weren't holding her hostage. They let the other person go. They was like, see, he's leaving. Go ahead and leave. And she was just like, no, I have papers. They was like, what papers? What papers do you have?
You can see. Hey, what they say? Die with the lie. Keep on lying. Look. What? It's only a lie if I believe I'm lying.
Yeah.
Just keep on going. Keep on going through it.
All right, so now the Moors, back to the Moors now, and Kia over there with them as well too, talking about she's gonna take over the South Side. They announced that the war is over. It's all about peace. And she also looks over her homegirl because I think that was sort of an acknowledgement that they know that Kia was the one, or Kia was involved with Jay Pusher being dead, or Jay Pusher's dead or whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, they all, Meech, Carter, Kia, they all make peace with the Moors. And Meech is, I would say, done with his business in the Lou, because at that rate now, Kia is going to run the South Side, so he doesn't have to have involvement there.
Yeah.
Now we get to Amani's house down in Atlanta for the High Rollers game. Markeisha is not allowed to go to the High Rollers room, so she has to she goes over where the ladies go, where she meets Chantel, gets nice and cozy with her. Chantel just is out here just with, as we like to say in elementary school, or the teachers used to say in elementary school, the diarrhea of the mouth, because she is just laying it all out on the table here.
This ain't diarrhea of the mouth now. This is box hunting. My girl going box hunting here. Like, oh.
I guess, yeah. I guess.
Don't you look interested?
Yeah, that's true. She did say, come to the house, we can have some fun together. You're right. But yeah, she overshared way more than she should have, considering what her NFL husband and gambler it could be up to. But anyway, Terry's just down bad on the table, seeing him struggle as always. Nicole gets a call from Terry though, because Terry basically convinces Nicole to smuggle some cash from Detroit to Atlanta. That way it can help get him out of trouble. But he mentioned it as saying that Meech and him have issues, and this will help the two of them. But then he goes back to the table, and it looks like he's starting to come up now.
Yeah.
But once he started winning, Mr. Hometown Hero leaves off with the money, and Amani says, hey, we got to give him a pass, man. We'll make it right, but we got to give him a pass because he is the hometown hero, and that didn't sit right with Terry.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. Now, Laz's grandma house gets raided by the warrant with Bryant and the Red Dolls and all that other good stuff. We now see Lucille pull out the vibrator. I don't know if they just did that to make it there, but she got to do what she got to do. Meech and Tina now. This is Tina explaining what happened with Purdy, with her mixing the pain medicine and the coke. She says she puts Purdy in rehab after that. But then she mentions to Meech, I'm just going to put all this together, that she is pregnant and she doesn't want to keep the baby. She needs Meech to be her big brother and needs a big brother, not somebody to judge her in all of this. And Meech takes her to the clinic so she can have her abortion while she has to go through all of the protesters and whatnot. So, I don't know what this means.
This is
as of now,
abortion,
but they spent a significant amount of time for this. So I'm gonna imagine this is going to be some type of Meech is experiencing this, and maybe this becomes a situation where when little Meech is, born or where he's conceived, maybe this is the decision-making factor because of what he just experienced with this. I don't know. But anyway, that all happened with Meech and Tina. Nicole now goes to in Atlanta before TSA, because TSA wasn't until 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
But you see security was still heightened because of
the Olympics.
Well, the war on drugs. But still pre-TSA. But Nicole, given all the advice from Terry, she makes it through and eventually shows up to the house, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, Terry and Markeisha are at the house. Loco walks in, Meech walks in, and they talk about fixing the problem in the loo, which is obviously by Jay Pusher being killed. And now they talk about expanding to Cali. That's why Loco's there. Then Nicole shows up. Terry said that, and Nicole basically, Meech wants to know why Nicole's there. And Nicole's like, well, Terry said I was in a bad spot. But that's only
first to know why Terry was at his house. Because that's true. He said, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah.
And what makes you think you could just be in my house without me knowing about it?
And it's funny too, because they definitely said before that they wasn't going to go to Meech's house, but they didn't think Meech was going to be there. That's why Terry had Nicole come there, and that's why he was there. And obviously, you know what? It makes sense because he needed to make it seem like they both were in trouble. So going to Meech's house makes sense because that's where they both will be at. And he could just say that Meech is near because of whatever. But Nicole shows up, Meech shows up, and that's why Nicole says, yeah, Terry said y'all was in a tight spot, only for them to know that wasn't true, because Meech and Nicole discovered that Terry and his gambling debts. But why that, Terry also, because of lying and people who lied to say anything, got angry at the two of them. Fuck that baby and whatever name you're gonna name it. First, Nicole saying you just mad because I'm naming it after Demetrius, and Terry saying fuck that baby and fuck the name. You're gonna name it, and then Markeisha saying something, and Nicole once again doubles down on you're not family, Markeisha.
Markeisha laughing like that is the best part of the scene because it lets the audience know just how fucking ridiculous it is that Nicole said. Oh, because you just mad because I'm gonna name this baby Demetrius, and Markeisha started laughing because it's the audience like, come on now, come on.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, she's a kid, and her clapbacks kind of needs to be like that. No,
it's not the clapback portion of it that's ridiculous. The ridiculous part is, out of this entire season, Meech has done more damage to Nicole than anyone else. And she's still mad at Terry. Like, it misplaced blame. Like, are we serious here?
Yeah. And then he said something about the $3,000, and Nicole's like, wait, what? What $3,000 is nowhere? And obviously we know that's going to pay into next week's episode. But then Terry and Markeisha at the hotel, Markeisha got Tank, who took the money, the hometown hero football player, got his address from the wife. And obviously Terry's happy about that because that means him and the PA boys can go there and do what they got to do. And she talked about she wants to cut, and also mentioned they're the real life Bonnie and Clyde lame. Now Meech and Loco and says, listen, we don't have to worry about pushing no more. And then this is where Loco says the Cali boss, he wants to meet you. And they mentioned how they're brothers for life, loyal. And not only that, Loco and then Loco steps off, but then Meech has breakfast for Nicole, makes her some pancakes, as he usually do as the big brother, because now he has to take care of her, but she's eating for two. And then says that, well, she confirms that she's going to name the baby after him, and says that you're my hero. And then he also mentions that I was thinking about naming my son Demetrius someday, which we know obviously happens because while this is Lil Meech playing Big Meech, well, we wouldn't have a Lil Meech if Big Meech didn't name.
Exactly.
So But he says, how do you know it's going to be a boy? He says, well, that's what she hopes, because she doesn't want a girl, because she doesn't want a relationship with her daughter like she has with her mother. So, yeah. To get the tank house, he's working out. The PA boys is with Terry. They just basically leave him on the bench with the weight bar over his chest where he can't breathe, only to get him to agree to open up the safe to get the money, and so on. Now, Meech is looking for Purdy at the rehab center, and Purdy has checked herself out. And we get to the last scene where we get Bryant, who is sitting in an interrogation room with Laz with 2 keys of coke, and mention how not only do they got him, but they can also get grandma with conspiracy unless he gives up all the stash houses in Atlanta. And with that threat, because he could do 20 years for these bricks, he says, listen, are you going to choose your blood or are you going to choose Meech? And Laz starts to write addresses on a notepad, which means he has chosen his grandmother over the loyalty of BMF. That's this episode. That is this episode. That is it. Is there anything else you want to touch on here?
No, I mean, that whole conversation between Nicole and Meech is funny. And it's only funny just because of you're my hero and all the other things that she talks about with Meech. And it almost feels like it's a way to pull the separation away from the siblings that you really have to have questions about here. Now, in real life, if they had this conversation, it's even funnier because her son name is Demetrius. so they had this and he's older than little.
Is her son really Demetrius?
Yes.
Oh, I never knew that. So nephew name is Demetrius,
and her son's name is Demetrius.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So again,
that's crazy. We seen him a couple of times. I never knew that. I never knew that.
So like it's amazing foreshadowing that they do here. And maybe it's because she's actually serious about saying it's not about you as much as I like the name. But either way, it's still hilarious because we see this separation between the siblings, and you gotta wonder, when does this get corrected? Because everybody's mad at everyone else here. And it's like, it feels like Terry is being pushed away. But what I do like about this episode is that Terry's the narrator of this episode.
Yeah.
So you kind of wonder exactly when we get to the end, when the overlay of Terry saying, Meech was this whole time worrying about his brother when it's someone else he should have been worrying about. Is that someone else is what leads to them getting back close again? Because Meech has started to put his trust in a lot of people, and none of them are Terry.
Yeah.
Down to Terry doing everything and having Nicole come with the money. Like, he only did it because Meech cut off his supply.
Yeah.
Like, all of this is very interesting, the way this is going to work out, to see. Because I think we've shown a lot of the brothers being separate, but I think over these last 3 episodes or so, you'll get to see them come back together. And that's going to be the interesting part, because all this is now set up here. Now you got the guy who you replaced Duffy with has 2 bricks at his grandmother's house, and now he's going to flip on you.
Yeah, so I don't know. Just thinking about next week now, we got Purdy, who is out checked herself out of rehab, and based on what she threatened Tina with, wouldn't be surprised if she goes back to Trail and Trail, supplies her.
No foreshadowing. Remember what Trail told him? You don't know what you're getting into.
That's true.
Like, Trail knew.
He did. He definitely did. We still got the B Mickey storyline that has to amount to something, because we got one more episode of this season. I know y'all keep saying there's 10 episodes, but I'm not seeing that.
10.
Huh?
Yeah, everything online says 10.
Yeah, but everything I have says 8.
If they cut it to 8 from 10, that means there is no conclusion to this.
Is there a title name for episode 9 and 10? Do you see that?
No.
Yeah.
It just mentions the release dates for 9 and 10, but it doesn't put the title for 9 and 10.
What release date for 9?
April. I say April. Good God, August 8th and then August 15th.
Okay, so that would be accurate if so, but I don't know if it's 10. We hear if it's 8, it's 8. But I have information.
It's just confusing.
Yeah,
it's confusing the way
I have information for 8 episodes. So
do you think it's a possibility they're keeping it like a more tight knit just because of possibly a renewal, a decision, and how they may have to shape things if it doesn't happen the way they want it to?
It doesn't make a difference to me. If they got 8 episodes and they got 2 more already ready for the next season, and then they, whatever they want to do is whatever they do. It doesn't make a difference.
That was Power one time where they did that, and
it's
they
not the only show
over.
that's ever done that.
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely not the only. It's definitely not the only show that's ever done that. So again, I have information that leads me to think that there's 8 episodes. If there's 10, we're going to cover 10. If there's 8, next week's the finale. However it's going to be, we'll be here to talk about it. But y'all let us know in the comments below y'all thoughts about episode 407, Enemy Within. And where do you really see things going for next episode, whether it's the last episode or not? But we got a bunch of things to discuss with Purdy. We got B Mickey and his storyline, Bryant and what he could potentially do and use with Laz. And then more divide with the brothers, man. We still need the conclusion of Mexico. What happens at the end of Mexico? The feds are at their doors and they're ready for war. So how is this going to play out? We have to see how this all works. But until next week, man, y'all let us know in the comments and all that other good stuff. And we'll see y'all back for more BMF coverage here at Big O Belt Media. Thank you for watching, folks.